Hey, this is Miss JJ Diamond, Jacqueline Richardson, Jackie Deja, whatever y'all call me. It has been a wonderful day here today in Charlotte. However, it's on fire. We are burning up. I noticed a lot of the trees are burning, and it made me think about the wildfires. I'll show y'all later how our trees here are burning in Charlotte from all the heat that we've had, and it's killing our plants, and eventually what will happen is a fire, if it gets just too hot. But I have an idea that I wanted to throw out there. I don't know if it was already thought about, that maybe could be done. If sprinklers was put in the ground in time to come up at nighttime, and this is something that y'all could possibly think about for next year, because I think it's too late for this year. Come up maybe 12 feet high, because some trees is like really, really high. I'm looking at a tree right now that's like as tall as a project building, okay? So I know that it would have to be extended tubes that come up and water the plants once a day, the trees. Granted, where do we get the water from? I had to think about that. Now, California, y'all can actually run piping from the ocean because y'all have beaches there in California. So y'all can run piping from the ocean. However, it will probably take a lot of years to get this done. But if it's done, I believe that it can help. Because that way the trees will stay moist. Okay? And that's the key right there, not letting them dry out. Just like with us as human beings. When we dry out and we get dehydrated, we catch a fever. Okay, so we start burning inside. Okay, the same way with the plants. Okay, you got to remember these plants are alive. Okay, and they get cooked just like we get cooked inside. So we must stay moist. And that's part of one of my ideas. Now, the other part is California has volcanoes, okay? So I know when the volcanoes are brewing underneath, it heats the surface of the earth, okay, for miles and miles and miles until it erupts. However, when I had that fire this a few months ago when I was making candles, and I was using a fire extinguisher to put out the fire. Now, once I put the stuff on the fire extinguisher, once I pulled out the clip and used it, the fire blew up. And I didn't understand why. So when the fire department got here, I asked them why did that happen. And he says because of the oxygen. Okay, that's what happens, okay? The same thing with the trees. The trees give off oxygen. And oxygen helps fire breathe, okay? However, they also help us breathe. So if we cut them all down, we won't be able to breathe. Because I thought about that concept as well, because Charlotte is cutting down majority of their trees because they're selling off a lot of their land. So it makes sense, but then again, it doesn't, because it's going to take away our air quality. Okay, so we can't do that. We can't cut down all the trees. So all we can do is possibly water them. Okay, and I know these is acres and acres and acres and acres and miles and miles and miles, but it has to be done in order to stop it. And if you take the water from the ocean, the city won't have to pay for the water. Okay, because the water's already there. It's not like, how can I explain it? We're not stealing it from God's ocean. We're just borrowing it, okay, to put out the fire. I guess that's why the earth is 75% water over land, because he knew we was going to need more water than we did land. Okay? And just that's just my theory. You know, I think if y'all was to come together and figure out how y'all can put those pipings in, just like when y'all put pipings in for a house, you know, so water can come up and we can wash and take baths and all that stuff, the same way y'all would do it for the trees. That way we can save the trees and we can save the animals, because the animals be out there in the wild, and we don't know how many animals had babies and they're stuck in the middle of the wild, and next thing you know, the trees catch on fire and then their babies catch on fire and they on fire. It's just too much. So I think that we can save it if we run the piping with long something that can come up out the sky. Out the ground. Come up, sprinkle a certain amount of water, maybe 15 minutes a day. And at night, I would think at night would be better, because if you do it during the day, it's going to dry it up real fast. At least if you do it at night, they have time to soak up the water. If you pay attention and you see people that water their grass in the evening, their grass look better than the people that water their grass during the day. And I noticed that. I've been watching that as well, you know. So that's just something to think about. Use God's water. Why not? He put it here for us to use it. We go out there and get his fish. We go out there, put our boats out there. Why not pull the water from the ocean to water his plants? When he can't brew up enough water, or the moisture, y'all know how it's done. The moisture has to go back up. And quiet as kept, if you think about it, and this part is for the scientists, if you think about it, with the water, the moisture coming in the air, with the sprinklers, it might rain more often, because you're putting the moisture in the air, because it's the mist of the water when it's sprinkling on the trees. It's still, the mist is going to go in the air. So we might be able to get more rain. Well, they might be able to get more rain. Charlotte gets all the rain. We stay wet here. But for the ocean, it's right there. Pull the water out of the ocean. That's just my theory. So y'all think about it. It's something, you know. Because you got to remember, these wildfires are not only killing the animals and the trees, it's killing the people too. The people that have breathing problems. I mean, I can just imagine the people that had COVID and they had to deal with the wildfire smoke as well. You know, something to think about. There's got to be a way, and we got to use God's way. We got to use his materials. But with the volcanoes, I wanted to say this. With the volcanoes, I was thinking that I don't know how much it'll cost to make this stuff for a big fire extinguisher, in other words, okay? Whatever's in it. To keep the volcanoes from erupting. Or if it'll erupt, it will settle back down because of whatever the chemicals are in the fire extinguishers. Because that's what happened in my kitchen. It looked like it was a explosion. You know, and I put it on there and then it exploded bigger and then it just went down. So it's something to think about. Whatever y'all got in them fire extinguishers, maybe someone could come up with a way of making a big fire extinguisher, or have trucks loaded in You know, when y'all feel the ground getting hot or however y'all know the volcano is about to erupt soon, y'all know to put that material, that chemical on it so it won't erupt. Now, the other thing I was worried about, though, if it doesn't erupt on the outside, will it erupt under earth? So we got to think about that as well. Okay? I was thinking about like when you have to poop, you know, and if the poop doesn't come out, it can poison the system. So it can also poison the earth is what I'm thinking if it stays in there. Okay? But if you can get it to a minimum of where it's just spilling out like, how can I explain it? Like diarrhea, okay? I'm sorry to explain this like the way our body works, okay? But I'm explaining it that way because the way God designed our bodies is the way he designed the earth. So we have to look at it in the same concept, okay? So that's why I'm using biology to try to, excuse me, define how the earth is set up as well. Okay, so if we let the fire, the stuff in the volcano stay in, it may poison the earth. Okay, that could be the reason why it comes out, just like with our toxins, it comes out, okay, through our bodily fluids. However, if we stop it from doing that, is it going to affect the earth? So we got to think about that. So the volcanoes may be something that we cannot touch, okay, but when it comes to the trees, I believe that the water can be pulled from the ocean through the sprinklers and water acres and acres of land to keep them moist enough to where they don't dry out so much that they start to burn. And that's just my theory. If we start looking at the earth as being a big human body, we could define a lot of things that go on. And we're just the human beings that's walking around now is just the cells. Okay? So just look at it like that. The earth is a big human body and we are the cells. And we can figure it out. What God needs us to do to make it right. Because he gave us all the tools. All the tools are right here. We just have to figure it out. We have to focus. You know, they keep telling me to focus. And I'm like, well, why me? Why I got to focus? Y'all ain't focusing. Y'all letting everything just go to waste, war, and everything else. Y'all ain't focusing. Why should I have to focus? But sometimes it takes more than just one to focus for us to understand what we need to do. You know, and being that I know about the body, I know about God, and I put the two together and tried to figure it out. So yeah, that's my theory, guys. So yeah, of course the piping is going to cost a lot of money, and I know that, but it could be worth it, you know? And that's just the way I look at it. And the water won't cost you anything because we're not waiting on rain. We're taking it straight from the ocean. And it's a lot of water out there. So, yeah, think about that. Feet and feet of water that can be used to water those trees during the very, very hot seasons. Something to think about. That's what I wanted to talk about today. I just had to get it off my mind before I forget. And, you know, sometimes when you're doing things, like I bought this sink and I looked how the tubing was and I was trying to figure it out and all that other stuff. Then I saw some tubes outside and then I had to put it all together. And I said, oh, okay, this is what could happen. You know, and you got to think about the body, how it works as well, you know. So I put it all together and that's what I came up with. And I thought I should share it because I'm looking at my trees right now off my balcony, and they're starting to burn. And I feel bad for me. That's why I try to keep some water out here for my bird, and some food. I feel bad for him because if he's on them trees and they catch fire, he may catch fire. And so I need to get him a house as soon as I can. Because I'm looking at these trees and they just burnt up. I'm going to show y'all a video. Y'all can look on my Facebook page or Instagram page. And I'm going to show y'all where our trees, it's not even, June just started. And they're burnt. Okay? Even some of my plants are burnt. I'm trying to grow grapes over here and they burn up. I'm trying to grow some peppers and they burn up. The plants are not burnt up, but the bulbs that was growing out is burnt up. And I'm going to show y'all. So I can imagine with a place like California, Arizona, Mexico, how their wildfires start. I could imagine. And it don't be all of them. Because what I think is just like when a person is pregnant, okay, and they have two embryos, say it's twins. One embryo can take more of the nutrients than the other embryo. So just like with the trees, some of the leaves pull more of the moisture and some of the other ones don't. So they wind up dying while the other ones still live. So they're putting out oxygen. So if them other trees set on fire and they're putting out oxygen, it's going to make it explode. And that's how the wildfires start. We know this. Okay, so we have to keep enough moisture so all of them will be able to get the moisture needed. So that's my theory of it. Everybody has to get a little. That's like if you only have one bottle of water and it's 3 people, you're going to split it. Everybody gets 1/3. Not one person gets half and the other 2 get half of a half. Okay? So we got to look at the facts of this. Scientifically and godly. This is how we're going to fix this problem. We have to use God's water. So that way it won't hurt nobody's pocket. And it won't affect families washing dishes and taking a bath and doing whatever they're washing clothes. It won't affect them because it's not the, I forget what they put, I forget the name of it. Y'all know my brains. Where the rain go for us to get the water. It won't affect that because you're not using that. You're using the ocean water. So yeah, that's just my theory. So I hope y'all can figure out something soon because I heard a lot of cries, from a lot of people, some of the celebrities, about what's going on in California. They thinking about moving over this side. I mean, there's several reasons, not just the wildfires. There's other reasons why they're trying to move on this side as well. Crime rates and everything else. However, cost of living, a bunch of things, a lot of factors are why they're trying to leave those areas. However, God's portion of it can be fixed. Because God don't want to hurt us. We just have to think. This is Jacqueline, Richard Simmons, JJ Diamond, Jackie, Deja, whatever y'all call me, and I'll talk to y'all soon. I hope this thing can be resolved with these wildfires, and I hope it get cooler here in Charlotte, because we are on fire. Okay? 91 degrees. I'm going to show y'all a video of my trees outside my balcony in just a few moments, so y'all can go check my Instagram. It's JJ Diamond. I'll talk to y'all soon.